So he drew this, and it's on Wikipedia, so I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, so, I thought Baby Yoda could give us some words of wisdom here. So I thought how I'll structure this for this afternoon is talk about first an extra credit opportunity, and then go over the course structure and the lab structure. So the extra credit opportunity, this will be worth 4 points. And I think it's just really timely. So I saw a Facebook post by my friend who works at University of Colorado, and she works in an RNA lab. She does a lot of RNA-seq work. And the email that she got was, okay. So the email that she got was, "Dear all, there will likely soon be a shortage of RNA reagents, RNA prep kits, and reverse transcriptase for COVID-19 testing in the Denver region. Please take stock of what you have available in your labs and enter it into this form." And then they talk a little bit about how this happened at University of Washington, but they were able to get through the shortage by community contributions. And so I thought this was, really timely. It's obviously really relevant to what's going on now. So I thought you guys could think about some of these questions. These answers, just Google, you can find them online. But why do you think there might be a shortage of reverse transcriptase due to testing for COVID-19? Could you see a scenario where WCE might be contacted to supply reverse transcriptase? If RNA prep kits run out, can you think of another reagent that we use to isolate RNA? And then the last question is, what kind of contributions do you think you can make as a student in cell and molecular biology? The take-home message here is that a lot of the testing that is being used is really similar to what we've been doing in lab. So I wanted you guys to think about some of those connections. So basically, to just answer those questions, just kind of think about them. And that will be due when class opens March 30th at 12:30 p.m. And then I'll go over some of those answers when we have our first lecture. Okay. So now I want to go over alternative course details. And I thought I would do this in terms of some questions that I thought that you guys had. And then I'm going to open it up to questions that you guys actually have that I might not have addressed. Any questions that you develop from now until whenever, if you guys ask me, and if it's okay, I might try to share with the rest of the class, because I'm sure right now there's so much uncertainty that people are just going to be having a lot of questions. So I'm going to try to do my best to answer them. Some I may not know the answers to yet, but I'm trying to foresee as much as I can about how to best run this class remotely. So I think maybe the first thing is, how are you planning on holding the classes? So I'm hoping to use an approach similar to what this Zoom meeting is like. So hopefully this is working. Lectures will be held during normal class time, which is Monday through Wednesday, 1 to 2:30. And I'll send a unique Zoom link for each class. I think that's the best way to do that, unless there's another way to send out links. But I anticipate it working in a similar fashion to how you guys just logged on. Can you ask questions? So you should be able to ask questions. So if you go to the group chat, I see hi by a lot of people, so that's great. I think also, hopefully you can see, I don't know if you can see my group chat box, but sometimes there's an icon for raising your hand. So if someone wants to try that, that might be helpful for me to see what that looks like. Okay, I did just see a raised hand. So if I see, I saw a little icon that said that someone, Mary, raised her hand. So then if I see that, then I can pause. Let's see if I do this. Yeah. So I can actually, Mary, I'm going to unmute you if that's okay. So I think if I do this, I don't know if that works. Oh, unmute. Okay, Mary, can you try to say something?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say, but hello.
That's perfect. Thank you. So I think maybe everybody could hear that. And I think now you're muted again. So if someone has a question, we can do it that way. Or you can also go in the chat box and type a question. So like any lecture, I might ask questions or have a pause if people had questions. And if you enter it into the chat box, then I can answer the questions there. I think everyone can see this, but I type in, hi everyone. So if people are writing me, then I can try to respond to those questions in real time. And when I log out of this, that chat box saves. And so then what I'm planning on doing is saving that chat box and then also posting it to D2L so that everyone has access to all of the questions. So that's kind of how I'm anticipating on to the classes. And hopefully that will go okay and everything's going to be different. But to me, hopefully that will recreate what we might have experienced in class. Okay, another question that I could foresee is, do I have to attend class during the regularly scheduled time? So that's my preference if you guys could, but we are really aware that one, not everyone has great internet access at home. Two, if you are at home, you might be in an environment where it's just hard to dedicate that time, depending on what your home and family situation are. So I understand that there's lots of variabilities with different students in terms of like when they can actually have access to this. So if you can attend class during the time, that's great. I would really appreciate that. Without that, then I can't get your questions in real time and I can't present that to the rest of the class. However, you're not going to be penalized if you can't make it. So I understand that there are reasons out of your control that you may not be able to attend class during that time. And that is, again, why I'm planning on recording these, posting them both onto D2L and YouTube. The YouTube site is so that you can stream them through your phones instead of needing internet access if that is becoming a hardship for you. So if you can attend, I think that's going to be better, but you won't be penalized for not attending. Okay, and if any point you guys have questions, feel free to use the chat box. I'll have a whole slide where I'm going to pause and see if anyone has questions. Okay, so what if you don't have good internet? That's what I just said. So again, you're not going to be penalized for not attending class, and I'll be trying to post everything and recording everything. If for some reason everything I am doing you're still not allowed to access, please let me know so that I can be aware and I can try to work with you and your situation to get you the material. Okay, so what about all of our assignments for the course? So journal clubs, quizzes, and exams. So that's on the next slide. Sorry, it's hard. Where's my mouse? There we go. Okay, so journal clubs. I decided I think it's just going to be too much to try to do journal clubs. So I'm going to be sad. But no more journal clubs. And instead, I think these assignments will be like much easier, maybe less time consuming. But I'm going to have you guys watch a video and usually for the two remaining one, I'm thinking about a scientist that studies what we're learning about. And then there's questions to answer that you can get straight from the video, and you'll just have to turn those in. So I've already designed one, and I'll be posting that soon. You can work at it on your own pace, and then just submit those answers to D2L. So I'll be posting those shortly. Okay, so quizzes. I still want to have the quizzes, but the format will be a little bit different. So you will take the quizzes on D2L. I had my independent research student try this on her D2L site, and she said it worked out okay. So in D2L, there's a tab that says quizzes, and then you'll see the quiz. And the way that these are going to work is they'll be timed. They'll give you guys 10 minutes for 4 questions. There'll be multiple choice or true, false questions. What I'm going to be doing is posting all the quizzes, and you just have to complete them at your own time, and just make sure that your answers are submitted before the quiz is due. So these are all open book, notes, internet, etc. My only ask of you is that you work on it independently. So I can't really monitor that, but just on our system that this will be independent. But you can use any resource you have to answer the questions, but they are timed. My goal of just posting all the quizzes is that way you can work on it at your own time, and you don't have to be tied to taking it at a particular time. Okay, exams. So exam I would like to take. So this will be this. Oops. Oh, there's my cute dog picture. Okay. The exams are the only assignment that I would like to have it due at actually have you all take the exam at a certain time. So our exam 2 will be moved to Monday, April 13th. And it will also be taken on D2L. And it will be a series of multiple choice, true, false, and short answer questions. Also, it will be open book and open internet notes, whatever. Again, with the stipulation of working on it at your own time. I'll give more details about the exam later. And so what I just need to know, and I'll send out an email to remind you guys, but if you cannot take the exam at that time, again, I'm really understanding of that. So just let me know so I can work with you for you to have a time that you know you can have quiet and take the exam during that particular time. So that's just communication that I need from you guys. If it's better for you to take it at a different time because you're in a house that's busy and it's hard to find space where you can concentrate, then just let me know and I'll work with you. But if I could get most students taking it at that time, I think it would be better. Okay. Okay, so this is our revised syllabus. I just put a picture of a little cute dog because looking at cute animals made me feel less stressed. I'm sure I know we're all stressed. I am too. So this is the revised syllabus here. We are not going to be holding class until March 30th. March 30th, we'll resume our conversation about the cytoskeleton, starting with actin. And then we'll talk about extracellular matrix, cell junctions. And then April 13th will be our exam. I'm planning on holding a review session on Sunday by Zoom and feeding your questions and going over concepts that's confusing to you. So I will be having a review session again that I'll record on Sunday. I guess it would be April 12th. If you look over at the assignment side, so you have blog 4 that's due on Monday. You can do that anytime. The quiz 3, so again, I will have posted quiz 3 onto D2L, and so you just have to have that completed before class begins on April 1st. Okay, and then as far as the remainder of the course, I think all of that stays. Oops, sorry, another cute animal. All of that stays, and our final exam should be similar to in terms of having that at a certain time and then taking the final exam remotely. Okay, so that's kind of the questions that I could think of with the course. I will just kind of pause a second and see if anyone has any questions. If you want to type it on the chat, you can do that. If you want to try the raise hand, I can try that too. I'm still trying to kind of figure out how to work through that. But I'll wait a second. Okay, is quiz 3 just a cytoskeleton? I'm going to type my answer too for those who couldn't attend the meeting. So that will be basically, let me type this up. Quiz 3 will be the intermediate filaments, which I think is what we started with, through microtubules. I am not, and it will just be the microtubules through when we briefly talked about kinesins, the motor proteins. The rest of that lecture, which is about how kinesins walk, I'm going to skip. So you're not responsible for the information that I didn't cover before spring break, which is how like kinesins swing their legs back and forth, which is interesting, but I'm going to skip that. Okay, microtubules through motor proteins. Yeah, so none of the information on like actin would be included in that. So it would be, let's see here. Yeah, it would be basically, what we covered before spring break. Sorry, which was intermediate filaments and microtubules. For the extra credits, we have to answer all the questions. So for extra credit, answer all the questions. I don't see what you are typing. Okay, so Lucy, can you guys see what I am typing? Can someone just say yes or no? Okay, so other people can.
Yeah, we can see. We can see what you're typing.
Oh, hi, Nicholas. You unmuted yourself. Hi. Okay, so not everybody can, so that's something that I'm gonna have to work through. You might have to open the chat functionality. So if you go to the Zoom, the bottom bar, I think under more, there's like 3 dots and it says more, and there's a tab that says chat. So maybe try to open that box, maybe that will help. Okay, is there still a makeup exam? Yes, okay, I thought about that too. So yes, I said there would be. I'm not going to take that away from you guys. So yes, there is still a makeup exam. Good question. Makeup exam with a combination of exam 1 and 2. That I'm going to have to, oh, whoops. I might have just sent a private message by accident. Yes, I did. I didn't even know I could do that. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Okay. Yes, there'll still be a combination of exam 1 and 2. Okay, so there will still be a makeup exam. I haven't put that on the syllabus yet because I need to think more about how to do that. That will also have to be through D2L. Maybe, yeah, give me some time. So the answer is yes, but I need to think about the best way to do that. There was another question of, will I be able to look at my first exam? Your exams I do not have with me. They are in my office. So it depends on, I don't want to say yes or no because things are changing so fast with how, whether or not we are allowed onto campus and whether or not students are allowed to campus. I feel like that keeps on changing, that rule. So for right now, I can't answer you. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know if I will be able to go back in. I don't know if students will be allowed in. It might be where as long as there's that nice social distance away, then it would be okay. But I just don't know what it's going to be. That being said, if you do not have the opportunity, if we don't have the opportunity to meet up again, and if I can't retrieve your exams, then what I would do is have a meeting where, like a one-on-one Zoom meeting where we go over the exam and we might go through some of the questions that you thought you got wrong. So there'll be an opportunity to review questions, but I don't know if you'll be able to review your particular exam. So I just have to play that by ear. And I just don't know the answers. There's just so much changing right now. But that would be some type of review method will be allowed, and I'll just have to think about how to do that. That exam, if it, like when it's offered, it would be sometime after exam 2. So my guess is that exam would be offered sometime between week 14 and week 15. And again, I just need to put a little bit more thought into how to best do that. Okay, sorry, that was a little bit of an ambiguous answer. So the answer is yes, and I have to figure out how to do the review and how to offer it to students. Okay, any other questions right now about the course? But we still have lab meetings. Okay, yep, so the next part of this is going to be all about the lab. So we are still going to hold lab. I'll see if anyone has any more questions about just the course. And then after that, we're going to go into details about how we're going to hold the lab. Okay, I'll leave this open. If you have questions at any time, feel free to post them. Okay, so now, oh, there's my little cute red panda. So cute. Okay, so now I'm going to switch gears and talk about how we're going to do the lab. Jessica, Dr. Soa, if you want to chime in at any point, feel free to do that too. We had talked together about maybe the best way to do this. So how are you planning on holding the labs? So I think what we're going to try to do is that for each lab, you're going to be given a pre-lab assignment, and this pre-lab assignment will not be graded. I just want you guys to submit them before lab. So it's basically going to be like almost like an attendance kind of thing. And it's going to involve watching videos about the procedure we would have done and answering some questions, again, that you can get directly from these videos. How to do a Western blot, how to do gel electrophoresis, how to do confocal microscopy, and so on. I'm really trying not to give you guys a ton of assignments that you're going to have to find extra time to do this. So what we thought is that if you already have the morning dedicated, you would be able to complete these assignments when we normally would have had lab, but they'll be posted before lab begins so that you'll have more time to work on them. But we're essentially going to start lab at 10:45 a.m. So the idea there, again, is if you want to work on these pre-lab assignments from 9:30 to 10:30, you could do that. And that way you're not taking up other time in your day if you need that time. And then lab will officially start at 10:45 a.m., where we'll review the answers that you would have submitted, and we'll go over some more details about that experimental process. And then we'll review like what the lab would have been and any upcoming assignments. That way we thought it would give you guys a little bit more freedom to do this pre-lab assignment whenever it best fits your schedule. And then we would meet a little bit later to go over what those answers are. Again, it's not going to be graded. It's just, I just want you guys to try to do it and submit the answers onto D2L. I'm hoping it will be a good learning experience for you. So I've designed one for, which I will post soon, for the lab that we would have had to run our RT results. So it's not perfect, but I think it might give you a good idea of the experimental technique. Again, if you feel like you can't make these times for whatever reason, again, we're trying to be really flexible with this. Just let us know, just communicate with us so that you can either switch lab sections, maybe Tuesday works better for you than Thursday, that's okay. Or we can make other accommodations. Again, these will also be recorded. Okay, oops, sorry. Oops, no, wrong way. Okay, so how can I continue with my lab manuscript if I don't have my data? This breaks my heart. Okay, so it's true. We're not going to be able to run your experiments, which is such a bummer. They're really advocating that if we go into lab, it is only to retrieve our stuff from our lab. And so we probably will not be able to run your experiments unless some of that loosens up in a couple of weeks, but I'm not anticipating that. So we do have pictures of previous RT-PCRs that use the same genes that you guys would have worked on. So what Dr. Soa and I are doing is we're in the process of finding those pictures of what the RT-PCR looked like. And we'll give you information about the primers and the expected sizes. And then you guys will use that as the result that you would have gotten had you run your RT-PCR. I guess it would have been this week. So you will just pretend that that's the data you got. We'll give you the relevant information. And that will be incorporated into the lab manuscript. So the big important thing here is you don't have to change the gene that you were working on, which I'm hoping will be good. I'm assuming you guys have already started to learn a little bit about that particular cell cycle gene. So you don't have to worry about needing to refocus or to relearn about a different gene. Okay. And I'm seeing if there's any. So for the lab assignments, we anticipate being able to complete the remainder of the lab assignments and also the analysis using data from previous labs. So during the lab sections where we meet via Zoom, we'll provide more details, but I don't really anticipate there being any change to the lab assignments and what are due. I think you'll be able to get all that information. So I'm not really anticipating a change there. So for presentations, the lab was supposed to have had 2 presentations, an oral presentation and a poster presentation. So we're still going to try to hold those using individual Zoom meetings between the instructor and the student. Dr. Sower and I were concerned that it might be hard to work in pairs. So normally you would have done the presentations with the partner that you had been working with in lab, but we were concerned that might be hard. But then when I started thinking about it, it might be advantageous. So actually I'm just going to leave it up to you and your partner. If you guys would like to work remotely, again, you can't meet each other. But if you wanted to work remotely using Google Docs and present a shared presentation, you can. If you prefer to work solo, that's fine too. So I'm going to leave it up to you and your partner. And so that can be with the oral presentation and also the poster presentation. The oral presentation is just like a PowerPoint presentation. So we'll give you more details about what these presentations should entail when we meet together as a lab, but there's also a lot of information on D2L about how to actually make these presentations. Okay, so this is our new lab schedule here. Again, so for the next lab, which will be Tuesday lab, March 31st, Thursday lab, April 2nd. The idea there is, again, you guys will do this pre-lab assignment, watch videos, answer questions, submit it before 10:30 a.m. the day of your lab, and then we'll go over the answers together and then talk about upcoming assignments. The next week is this oral presentation, the PowerPoint presentation. Information's already on D2L, but I'll go over more specifics when we meet together as a lab. So here, and then I'll just go over the series of labs. The next week after that is fluorescence imaging. So again, that one would have this pre-lab assignment. You'll watch a video about confocal microscopy, answer some questions, and then we'll kind of do a instruction about what you guys would have done in that lab. Same with the Western blots. In terms of, and then the final lab would have been a poster presentation. And then your lab assignment, so these are the new due dates. Lab assignment 3, which is the material methods and results. That's due week 11. But again, that's something hopefully that you guys are on top of. If you guys get it in earlier, I'll try to grade some next week just so that you have some comments on that. The introduction is due the week after, and then week 14 is when the discussion outline is due. In terms of the lab notebook, will not be based off of what you previously wrote in the lab notebook, and that's because I'm assuming that some people might have left their lab notebook at the university. Some people may have it in a different location and they can't get to it anymore. So we're basically gonna just start the lab notebook electronically, starting with how you would have set up your gel electrophoresis and ran your RT-PCR. I just think that's fair because I don't want you to have to go back and rewrite things. I'm truly trying to limit the amount of work that you have to do. And also, I just don't know where your lab notebooks are, and I don't want to stress anyone out by you needing to travel and retrieve your lab notebook. So we'll also have this posted, but they'll just be like a Microsoft Word document when you write the purpose, the procedure, the results, and conclusions. But the start of that will be the gel electrophoresis lab. That would have been on week 11. Well, that's not going to be on week 11. And there'll be a document posted on D2L that has like lab notebook and what that Word document looks like. Okay, and oops, sorry, had to throw in a cat there. And so week 15 is actually, week 15 would actually be our last lab normally. And so that is when that final poster presentation is due, lab notebook, and then your lab manuscripts will still be due on Monday, May 4th. Again, the lab manuscripts do not have information from the Western blots in it, so you will have all the data that you need by week 13. I might